Oh boy. That game was fun, gentlemen. Utah Jazz managed to pull out this one in pretty confident fashion, 124 to 117 after being down in the first half by, what was that, 10? Excuse me. No, I believe they were down 6. Let me look at this scorecard real quick to confirm. Outscored by, down by 7? Yeah, down by 7. Outscored 33-28 in the first quarter. Outscored 35-33 in the second quarter. So, yeah, down 7 in halftime. Then came out, had a little bit of a rough start to that third quarter, but then started blowing that thing wide open. Outscored them by 11 in the third quarter to go ahead and take the lead. Things got a little bit chippy at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Around the 6-minute mark, OKC took their final lead of the game, going up by 1 point. But then the Jazz closed that bad boy out in prolific fashion, capitalized on by a Keontae George 3, and then followed up by none other than Lauri Markkanen, who led both teams with 33 points, capping everything off with his 3. So overall, this was a game that the Jazz needed, and they got it. Honestly, it was a well-earned W. It was needed. Hey, there we go. Kris Dunn, the best defender in the league. Hey, man. Kris Dunn is apparently holding opponents to 38% shooting from the field when guarded by him, which is the lowest percentage by anybody in the league. Insanity, for one. Despite the fact that, what's his name? Despite the fact that the lovely one and only and much respected Shai Gilgeous-Alexander still had 28 points on 50% shooting from the field, he definitely could have did a lot worse, right? He definitely could have did a lot worse, and we handled that one pretty handedly. Tyson, what's good, my guy? Tyson, I'm staying with you when I come out that way. That's what we doing? It was you or Zach? I think it was you. I'm staying with you, Tyson. I'm playing. What's good, Logic? Feeling good, buddy? Y'all see what happens when y'all let him close? Bingo. Kris Dunn so nice. Absolutely. Keontae heating up. 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. The second game in a row where he shot very well. Not just okay. He shot very well from my brain. From 3-point range. And for the game from the field end, is honestly. What's good, Rashad? What you said? Y'all see what happens when y'all let him close? Absolutely. Big W, let's go. Yes, sir. Tayin already know the vibes. Tayin know the vibes. Dallin, what's good, my guy? No BS. I think Keontae's 6'6" now. That's crazy. He's clearly taller than J-Dub. Hey, he was definitely holding his own. He was a lot more locked in on defense. Obviously, he wasn't perfect, but he was definitely a lot more attentive to detail than he usually tends to be. Maybe it's because he shared the court with Kris Dunn a lot more than usual, but either way, it was what it was. Kris Dunn, 7 steals and blocks combined today, Tatum. Yes, sir. Since when can Keontae shoot like holy smokes? He hit some big shots the last 2 games. Finally, he started hitting some shots that he should be hitting, right? We know he can take good shots, right? We just see him take them and then miss them. Now, he did have 2 mild heat check-ish shots that were unnecessary, but he only missed 2 threes. So, I mean, those 2 were the heat checks. The other 4 went down. Who do you think the Jazz are going to trade? Being consistent with my videos, Dallin, I would have to say JC might low-key be on the block because we're winning, but his shooting splits are not very good. In fact, they've been actually pretty bad. Today was pretty rough as well for him. Just to make sure I'm not talking out of my butt. 5 of 12 overall, but he's in a 3-point shooting slump right now. 5 turnovers, though. We can't have that in. He managed to play slightly more minutes than Colin Sexton while doing that. So that was a little bit interesting, but we pulled this one out. Shout out Keontae George, shout out Lauri Markkanen, and definitely big shout out to Kris Dunn, who really shored things up and helped us put this game away early, honestly. But yeah, probably Clarkson. THT is obviously going to be a candidate because he gets no minutes, and we don't just want to sit him there and let him waste away, even though there's not a big market for him. But yeah. And then Olynyk might have to go. It depends on who we can get, though, because if we get a playmaker, then Olynyk will probably be on the door out. But if not, then we'll probably still have him. 40% on pull-up threes. 40% is kind of crazy. I'm gonna have to pull up that number, money. I'm not gonna lie, because he's had some. He's shooting 32% from three from the field. So is that he's missing all his catch and shoot ones? That's what it is. Because that would mean he has an extremely low percentage of pull-up threes, which is possible because he does take a lot of catch and shoot threes. But I thought most of his were like, I thought over half of his threes were on like a one dribble pull-up kind of situation. Shea scored all his points when Kris went to the bench. Basically, we're the best there ever was. Nobody can beat us. Kris Dunn's that dude, man. Unreal. He finally, how many minutes did Kris Dunn play today? He had to have played a season high. Well, close. 26 and a half. Yeah, that's definitely the most he's played in quite some time. Bad catch and three-point shooter. Interesting. Dang, he must be horrible at catch and shoot. Excuse me, off. Yeah, he must be horrible at catch and shoot. What the heck? That means he's actually bad at catch and shoot threes, and then just has a really small sample size of pull-up three-pointers. That's what the numbers would indicate then, I guess. Probably last game for Kelly Olynyk and Clarkson. Jazz better not trade KO for 2 second-round picks. I would actually be very irritated if we did that because that does not benefit us at all. Hope we trade JC. I hate to say it, but somebody please tell me why we played Salmonich at forward today. The Jazz Bear could have played better than him. I mean, how long did Salmonich play? Because this is like the first game he saw early action. He saw 6 minutes. All things considered, he wasn't terrible. I see what you're saying, though, Tay. Don't get it twisted, but yeah. 0 of 3 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3. 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 2 boards, 2 turnovers. Overall, 3 points and a box score plus minus of a -4, which actually works out, ironically, to the worst on the team. Followed up by Jordan Clarkson at -3 and Olynyk with -2. We said KO is an expiring deal and 30-plus years old. I'll gladly take 2 seconds for him. Opens up. Oh, I just missed it. Opens up minutes for Hendricks and adds to the bag. True, but it's more so the playmaking sense. And because a lot of contending teams will actually value him as a bench big that can obviously shoot and play make, I think he's worth a little bit more than 2 second-round picks. Now, if we send him to somewhere like if we were to use him in the trade for Atlanta, then it would make sense because we're getting DeJounte Murray back and he's a playmaker in his own right. And Atlanta probably wouldn't have the biggest usage for Kelly Olynyk, to be quite frank, because they're not contenders. So yeah, would it be nice for them to have him on the bench? Of course. But would he ultimately do much of anything? Probably not. We said, Lee, yes, sir. Can't wait to record my post game tonight. But like I said this before, Kris Dunn and Keontae are a revelation together. Exactly. Keontae plays his best alongside Kris Dunn, particularly defensively. He's a lot more bearable on defense when he's with Kris Dunn. He doesn't over-rotate as much. He stays in his zones. He recovers pretty well. Not great, but like significantly better than he does when he's on the court with Jordan Clarkson. So I love that for him. I love that for his development long-term, honestly, as well. Can't wait till Thursday. I'm predicting a big trade, not KD but a significant one. I think there is one cooking up, Chris. I think there is one cooking up. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Like, obviously, I reported on the what's it called? I reported on the DeJounte Murray offer, and then I have another video. I'm hoping Sachin can get it to me tonight because he's up right now. It's 11 p.m. It's 11 a.m. in India right now. So I'm hoping he finishes the video. I wake up tomorrow morning and he sends it to me so I can upload that one, because if he doesn't, I might miss out on that upload because that would mean I recorded it for nothing because the trade deadline is right around the corner. And if that trade happens before I get the video out, I'm going to be hot. spoiler alert, the other person that I think we might sneakily make a play at, or at least put an official offer in for him, is probably going to be Mike Bridges. That's the one that makes the most sense. I don't think that we're going to offer as much as everybody's saying he's worth, as the Nets are alluding to him being worth, to be quite frank. But I think it is something to keep an eye on, concerning the fact that if Colin Sexton can continue to play make at the level that we've seen him play make over the past, 15, 20 games, then you can put him at the point guard position and not be as scared of him defensively being a liability, right? And then at the 2 guard, you put Mikal Bridges, who's going to be a consistent secondary scoring option, who's also going to be a very lanky defender that takes pride on the defensive side of the floor. He's not going to get exploited. He rotates well in zone. He can also play man straight up. So I like that fit as well, right? Plus, he's longer and taller than DeJounte Murray, and he's not the biggest ego guy. Like, he reminds me of a Kris Dunn demeanor kind of guy when he gets hype and happy, if that makes sense. And I'm all for that, to be quite frank with you. And I love a good defender. We said, my guess is another team wanted to see if what he could do, Tay. And Ko Polili said he'd love to stay in Utah today. Yeah, again, like he said it multiple times, which is why I kind of really don't want to get rid of him. He's also not the worst person to play, and he's really one of those guys where we literally play him 15 to 18 minutes a night, and he never complains, right? He just does the little things. He'll give you a triple single, be happy, sit on the bench, and be, clap it up for everybody else. Nothing too crazy. And that's easy. I think the question would be he be willing to sacrifice his minutes for Taylor Hendricks? Because if he would, I would keep him. I would re-sign him, and I would keep him on the bench. Now, he wouldn't play as much, right? He would play probably the minutes that Solomon is just seeing right now. But having a guy like that in the locker room who has that shooting touch, has that passing sense, and just has the ability to make plays properly and read the floor, particularly on offense in a face-up situation, I think that would greatly benefit Hendricks specifically, because the biggest reason why we struggle to find minutes for him and why he can't just leapfrog over John Collins, even though John Collins' contract is like basically forcing us to keep him on the floor, is because he doesn't really have a very strong face-up game. He has a decent 3-ball. We've seen it. We've seen it in action. We saw it in the G League. We know he can be a great help side defender. We know he can play zone well. We've seen it. We saw it in college. We saw it translate to the G League. We've even seen it in the minutes that he played with the actual team, right? And defense will always find you minutes. But having an offensive game, we're at that point in the season where everything counts. We can't just sit there and send somebody out there and let them lay an egg, especially not on a consistent basis. And so there's no real reason to force him out there. But long-term, I would love to have Kelly Olynyk backing him up if possible, just to be that locker room presence. I don't need Kelly Olynyk to play. That's the thing, though, because he would be taking away minutes from that success. But, it's always to have reliable bigs in case of injury. And if Kelly Olynyk genuinely loves it here and he's not going to complain and he's just fine existing, I don't say no, honestly. He's not the greatest defender, right? But his offensive skill set is very coveted by a lot of teams, and I wouldn't be mad at it. He said, I think you should keep him anyways. I have to check that out, Lee. Thanks. Yes, sir. Better do a cartwheel, though. Really, no. I'm usually very negative about the Jazz, but not tonight. It was a quality win. The last night, some people have questions about last night's win because, it did come against the Bucks that had their own fourth quarter collapse. But at the same time, in order to have a fourth quarter collapse, you have to be outplayed by the opposing team. And we did that. And then tonight, we doubled down and got the job done. And that's what I really love. That this entire second half. The first half was a little bit rocky, right? First part of the third quarter was a little bit shaky, and then about 7 minutes into around the 8 to 6 minute mark during the fourth quarter was a little bit of like they're punching back, they're fighting because they want to win. But we kept grinding it out, and ultimately it paid dividends, and that's the thing that you can be the most appreciative about. He said, "Would you trade Markkanen and Collins for Jalen Green and Tate?" No, I can't. He does fit our timeline better, but I don't know. Jalen Green has a certain level of ego. Like, he has a Jordan Clarkson type ego, but a little bit more grandiose. Even going back to like his high school days, that's just how he is. And that's not a terrible thing. But when you go from when Markkanen is like your central, like mellow demeanor, I'm your guy. If nobody else is consistent, I'll be consistent kind of guy, just a hard worker. It's a tough pill to swallow. And then you also ship out Collins. I don't hate Collins, contrary to popular opinion. I don't hate John Collins. I think he plays really well on offense. Defensively, obviously, is the area that he's a liability. Even though he's not a net positive overall, I do like the energy and the vibe that he brings to the court when he plays, and I love the energy that he can give when he finishes plays, when he plays alongside Colin Sexton, because I think that's really the most ideal guard to run with him, because they just seem to have that chemistry that other guys don't have. Similar like how Keontae always seems to find Walker Kessler somehow. Like I really like those types of bonds. So it makes me a little bit more accepting of the defensive flaws that he tends to have, because it's not as though he's not trying on defense. It's just sometimes he just completely just doesn't understand what's going on. And I can kind of live with that a little bit more. Like if you naturally struggle, that's one thing. But if you choose to struggle because you don't want to put in the effort to get better, that's a total nother, and we can't have that. He said, "Are you insane?" No, it would be worse than Gobert trade or Brooklyn trade. Did the Rockets do that deal? They seem to dislike it. Oh, the Rockets would definitely do that deal. His 3-pointers were correctly air balls. The moment was too bright for him. That's all. He just didn't have. Nobody thought he was going to have that opportunity. I don't even know if he knew he was going to have the opportunity, but he did. And it didn't hit. So much is absolutely. I'm not sure if I do it. I couldn't do that trade. After this game, Keontae shooting 29.1% on the catch and shoot threes and on 2.8 shots. Interesting. 38% on pull-up threes, 2.3 shots. Really? You learned me something new today, Money. See, that's why you're in the chat, man. That's why we have a chat, and we have a whole family of community members to talk, right? So we can debunk myths and understand the depth of players. Thank you for that, Money. I appreciate that. That's really interesting. Huh. I never saw it that way. I love that. Hawks could flip him. Potentially, yeah. Gonna hop off to do my post game. Hold my volume up. It won't be having the chat. Probably advertise your channel. Nah, you're good. Appreciate you, Lee. Watching the Suns versus. They have stars, but Jazz so much more depth. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Send it to me if he doesn't reply. Got you. I'll edit it if you don't hear back. I want you to be able to get that out, brother. Yeah. Say no more. Because I don't even need the numbers edited. I just need game clips from the guys. And I think the video is like 8 minutes long. So as a matter of fact, if it's in my Google Drive right now, Lee, the DM me your email, and I'll email it to you anyways. Because if he doesn't get it to me in the next 12 hours, he's cooked. Not gonna lie, love him to death, but he's cooked. I don't have it. Oh, you're off work. Hey, you already know what he said. Like and subscribe to the channel. Don't want to trade anyone. Still, I'm thinking I have vets on the team is important. Yes, vets are very important. And quality ones are hard to come by, few and far in between. Vesper, what's good, my guy? You said Keontae's been going off recently. I hope that he maintains this level of offensive efficiency. We just need to trade for a good small forward and play Collins or Kessler at the 5, depending on the matchup. I agree, because without Collins shooting touch being down, I think that it's a little bit rough to play him in certain games, like as a starter. Now he makes up for it because he's extremely aggressive on the glass, and I love that. You can't overstate the value of an aggressive rebounder. And we controlled the glass tonight. That was a big reason why we were able to win this game compared to the last time we played them. Because last time it was a little bit more even. There was a little bit more lollygagging on the boards, and it just seemed like they wanted the misses a lot more than us. This game, there was no question. If John Collins was on the floor, he was grabbing that board. Lauri, standing alone by the rim, would still sit there and snag that board out the air as if somebody was breathing down his neck. And that's a level of intensity that you got to appreciate, and you can't that's what fuels you to wins when other things aren't going, when your shot isn't falling specifically. Let's see. Triple single, I love it. Yeah. We can make a trade and still have vests for draft picks. True. If only we had Hendricks over. This would have been a good game to see Hendricks get those minutes over Salmonich. I'm not going to lie. Last 4 games, Keontae shooting 35.7% on 3.5 catch and shoots, 45.5% on 2.8 pull-up threes. Interesting. Flair, yes, sir. Please say Cam stinks. Cam wouldn't like that very much. Can't believe Solomon just played over THT. I think THT is going to be one of the first guys to get traded, and that's why we just like completely eliminated him from the what do you call it? From the rotation. For real, Torre, THT at 4 would be better than Lou. Yeah, you did say that. Long term, it should be Dunn and Keontae starting backcourt. I don't know, because remember, Dunn's about to be 30. And I like the consistency that Sexton brings. I do see what you're saying, though. I do see what you're saying. I just need to see Keontae get a lot better on defense. Credit, he looked a lot better today than he has in most previous matchups. Likely because he was alongside Kris Dunn, so he has no choice when a guy is communicating with you and telling you where you need to be on the court. If you don't get there, that's your fault. You're making a conscious decision not to listen and be a good player and a good teammate. But in a lot of situations, obviously, he's alongside Jordan Clarkson, who doesn't always call things out on defense and isn't the most vocal leader on that specific side of the ball. So in that situation, that puts the rookie in a situation where he's flying blind. If a screen comes, he doesn't know the screen's coming. He gets hit by the screen. Okay, he's out of the play now. Just little stuff like that. Be back if I record. Most definitely, sir. Jazz won. Yes, sir, Monty. Beat the Bucks twice, not a fluke. Yeah. Who was missing the first time we played the Bucks? Because I remember the Nuggets were healthy the first time, but the Bucks were missing somebody. Were they missing Chris Middleton? I mean, they were missing him last time, but that doesn't really matter. I don't care. Same thing to me. I want to comment something, but every thought I get somebody comments is so high, I guess, and like the stream. Hey, Lee, I appreciate you anyways, man. We're glad to have you in here. See, hive mind mentality, we were all thinking alike. Jalen Green has yet to develop, correct. And also, I don't like Jalen Green with the Rockets because they're not a very good development team in my eyes just yet. I could be wrong, but I would like him better. I would low-key want to see him on the Spurs alongside Wemby. Is that crazy? It would force him to be a better defender, and his shot selection and just shot creation value would also increase because it would have to. We have no choice. Take road wins and home losses. Jazz +2, truly 7th place in the West, tied with Lakers. Interesting. Honestly thought the Bucks got tired the other night, but after tonight, I'm doing the same thing. Maybe it's just the Jazz fourth quarter surge difference between the Bucks and OKC. OKC's are great on D, for sure. We've been a second half team for sure. Hardy's playing all the guards the same amount of minutes. Colin isn't finishing games the last couple. Yeah. Colin also hasn't been the hottest, so I don't hate it. Now, in a game like today, I don't necessarily agree with playing Clarkson as long as we did, because he was a bit turnover prone, right? 5 turnovers is a significant number. His shot also wasn't on, and he was also shooting a couple of threes that he probably shouldn't have shot. He was 1 of 6 today, again. So that's not great, but yeah, good things come with time, as they say. I'm reserving judgment for now. What Dale said, hit that like button, man. There's 30 of us in here. Let's get 30 likes, man. Tell your aunts, uncles, your pappies, everybody to hop in here. We're all a family. Where are we? Call me crazy, but trade for Dante Exum, a reunion SLC. That's an interesting one. That is very interesting. Markelle Fultz has been growing on me lately. Low-key. What does Will Hardy have to do to earn your respect? Sexton would be perfect 6-man for this team. The thing is, Sexton doesn't do good off the bench. We saw that at the beginning of the year. That was the roughest part, because Him in staggered minutes, it takes him a minute to like get acclimated. And once he's acclimated, he goes. And then if you pull him, it takes him a minute to get back into it. Because SGA been cooking Sexton the entire game. He gave him 6. If memory serves me right. I remember 3 buckets distinctly. We had a 40. Yeah, that's right, Tatum. We had a 40 to 13 fourth quarter. So whatever lineup he chose was the right decision. Yeah. At the end of the day, you got to go with the hot hands. Hot hands closed it out. And then Sexton still hit his free throws in the fourth quarter. So kept it out of reach, you know. Not a fan of Will Hardy simply because how he manages the guard situation. Interesting. Fair play. Fair play. If we didn't have Hardy, we'd be 14th. James, what's good, my guy? Yes, sir. What a win is correct. I love Exum, but I don't love the minutes he would take away from Keontae. True. Jeff, my guy. Pleasure to have you in here, brother. Yeah, in a few minutes, hopefully you're still live. Oh, yeah, I definitely will be. Yeah. We got a little bit of time. I'm still reading through this chat. I haven't even got to the stats yet, guys. He's the reason why we're not a top seed because he started initially at the beginning of the season. You can make that. You can actually make that's actually a very reasonable argument right there. The rotation at the very beginning of the season. I was never a proponent for THT starting and nor Jordan Clarkson. I thought Jordan Clarkson was always a 6-man, and I reserved judgment to be proven wrong, and then he proved me right. So there was that. But THT over Kris Dunn. I always thought Kris Dunn starting from last season was ideal. Now, admittedly, we were tanking during that period of time, but to me, Kris Dunn's numbers were real. And he's proving right now that they were real, but he's also understanding what his niche role is, and he's playing it to the best of his ability. So I have nothing but high praise for him. I'm glad we figured it out eventually, even though it took a little bit longer than I would have liked for it to, because we missed out on some freebies, right? Because the general rule of thumb is your strength of schedule means that your games are going to be either tougher or easier after a certain point because of different criteria. We lost a lot of easy ones or ones that we potentially could have won with this type of lineup right now at the very beginning of the season, and that really put us down. So we're fighting back to be 500 and then get a little bit above 500 when we really should be like probably 7 or 8-ish games above 500 already. But you win some, you lose some, and you learn. That's the best thing you can say about it. Dunn was awesome tonight. He locked up Shea. Hardy's the coach on the floor, though. That's why they get on him. Takes time to figure out rotations. Coming out day one, having it all figured out. True. 3 blocks and 4 steals. Exactly. Defensive player of the year type numbers. If memory serves me right, I believe they said that Kris Dunn is holding opponents to the lowest shooting percentage on shots where he's the primary defender at 38%, which is actually freaking insane, if that is accurate. I don't know if the announcers were just spouting or if I misheard them. Cooked everyone not named basically. My main issue with Hardy is nothing consistent unless it's Lauri. I was thinking about you, 6 and Lauri the same as all. My two best players, just not a good look. Interesting. Looking like prime Gary Payton out there with that. Respect, Gavin, respect. Hardy started a 6-man over a starter, 20-plus games, although it was a choice. If you want consistency, get Quinn Snyder back, never willing to adjust what's going on in the game. Also makes it harder to plan against us. True. Every game is different. Fair. But I also understand Incognito's gripe with everything. Hardy seriously one of the best coaches I've seen, especially for a second-year coach. Imagine 3 years from now. True. And 3 years of development and consistency amongst all the teammates. This is chemistry that they've developed over 1 year. Imagine 2 seasons, 3 seasons of chemistry. Chef's kiss. The only person on the roster from 2 years ago is Jordan Clarkson. And you could argue that he's probably the biggest net negative alongside, I guess, Keontae George. But Keontae George's net negativeness is a little bit different, if that makes sense. Hope we can extend it. We should extend him, yeah. I think Green might require to undo a couple of seasons of bad habits at work. Yeah, that would be the biggest thing. I get arrogant vibes. For him, I wouldn't even say it's arrogance. I would just say they blew his head up and told him that you are this particular type of player. You will always be this type of player. So you need to act like it. And so that's what he did. But admittedly, on the Rockets, let's face it, there's kind of direction, but not really direction, but kind of direction. And it's like, okay, well, who's the top dog? What are we doing here? What's going on? And they don't have even those answers. So that's part of their issue. Where are we? Keontae's 50, 40, 90 over his last 5 games. That's good. That's good percentages. I love that. Will Lauri have his breakout all-star season last year without Hardy? I'm not sure. I think it definitely helped. For sure. Yeah, Hardy's system definitely benefited Lauri and allowed him to be as successful as he was last year. Undoubtedly. They did done so dirty early in the season. Those reports about the Jazz wanting to trade a veteran point guard months ago while Dunn was here is laughable now. Still love Hardy, though. Lineups are hard. Yeah. Objectively, I understand what they're saying because Kris Dunn is never going to put you in a situation where you can expect him to average 20 points a night for you. That said, at the same time, he's always going to be a great table setter, right? He's not going to make too many costly turnovers, and he's always going to play a great point of attack defense, right? He's going to spearhead your defense, and he's going to be great at doing it. So with those things, the only thing that you can get that's an upgrade from that is effectively like a DeJounte Murray type where he can give you an efficient 20 points per game on top of stellar defense and some great playmaking. That's the only difference. So if you could get that, then yeah, it makes sense. But other than that, Kris Dunn is giving you everything else you could ask for and you could hope for with the type of personnel you have on your team. It's not just, oh, I want a bunch of great players, right? Kevin Durant always requests that. He requests a great big three. But when the big three gets hurt, the rest of the roster falls apart because everybody's not equipped to fill in those gaps. It's not a very well constructed thing. But, you know, neither here nor there. Download, you're out. Good night, buddy. Thanks for tuning in, man. You think okay, question, Rashad. Do you think Sexton is too small to be running the starting point guard spot in the playoffs? In the Western Conference in particular, considering the type of point guards that he's going to end up running into as a fellow starter. I don't like Sexton starting at the 2-guard spot for obvious reasons, right? Because then you're in a situation where he's probably every bit of 6'2", but he's going to be facing off against people consistently between 6'4" to 6'6"-ish, right, at that 2-guard spot, and that's just not ideal. 6'7" if he ends up, being put on Klay Thompson, which this season hasn't been a problem, but potentially could be, right? We're not going to sit there and act like it's just not a thing. But I don't see people in the 6'3", 6'4" category range taking advantage of Sexton. Sexton doesn't get bullied very much. A lot of times it's just him being there and in position, but he's just not big enough for those taller guys that end up being those, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". So when pick and roll switches, it gets a little bit weird because he can hold his own for about 3-4 seconds, but just because he's strong like that. But after that, if they decide to hit a fade, he's not there. He's fit because he physically can't be. And I understand your point of view on that one in situations like that. We need talented guards. I think the high stuff's already consistently making assumption that if he's shown in a playoff series, you also have to realize other team guard height. Yeah, that's very true. Saying so some consistency realize a human element too. I hate playing for a coach that'll play me where he wants, especially when I've been consistent. Fair. Gives me Garland vibes. Well, remember they were having that talk with deciding whether they wanted to keep Sexton as their primary guard or Garland, but because Garland's playmaking was light years ahead of Sexton's at the time, they stuck with Garland and were willing to actually trade Sexton away in that Lauri deal in exchange for Donovan Mitchell, which hindsight 2020, it's working out for both teams pretty well. Sexton better than Garland. I've watched them both. I personally like Sexton in a winning environment. Right? Just piece for piece, you can argue that Garland is definitely more valuable because he has been the more consistent playmaker. But in a situation where, like, I need a win and I need dogs on the court, I'm trusting Sexton 10 out of 10 times over Garland. Not to say that Garland's not a good player, right? That's not what I'm saying. But in that situation, it's a mindset thing. And sometimes Garland, I feel like, plays too content with the situation situation, which is why it's so easy for Donovan Mitchell to effectively be that top dog in that hub of the offense, even though Garland is obviously the more pure point guard type of figure. But yeah. He said, I don't see that take coming. I don't think anybody did, David. Obviously, Garland's numbers are going to drop when his team is low. To a certain extent, yeah. I watched Sexton play with Garland. They're talking about Sexton was the guy, not Garland. He was closing games, something Garland was in trouble doing. I get you love Sexton. I do too, but your bias is insane. I'm not the KD rant. Not about numbers. I'm talking about the players. This would have been a much bigger win if Clarkson didn't play. Low key. Or if Clarkson got held to probably 20 minutes. If you gave those 6 minutes to... let me look. If you give those 6 minutes to... Really, there's a lot of people you could have given it to. If you gave those 6 minutes to... Well, I'm not going to sit there and say Walker Kessler. That's crazy. If you split those 6 minutes and gave 3 to Colin, 3 to Keontae, put them both right there at like 29-ish, 29 and a half minutes. A little bit, you win by a little bit more of a gap. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, question, Rashad. So over the past 20 games, what would you say Sexton has been doing exactly? If you asked me, if we were talking about Sexton the way he was off the bench, I would concur with you that he doesn't have a point guard play style. But over the past 15 to 19-ish games, he's definitely upgraded his playmaking sense for one, and then just the way he operates within the offensive structure that Will Hardy has set up for them. And I think that has put him in the situations that I didn't think he was honestly going to be capable of at any point this season. Because yes, it's easy to make certain passes, but for Colin Sexton, remember his mental thing was never, can he make this pass? Can he get that assist? It was always, will he? Combine the fact that he's actually making the proper passes, he's seeing the angles and actually giving the ball up with his now added change of pace dribbling. And you have a situation where he's a lot more comfortable, confident, and he's not liable to make as many goofy mistakes as we were accustomed to him seeing made. Like even in his Cleveland games, even when he was like, scoring a lot of points, scoring efficiently, he still was privy to doing that sort of thing. Now, some people could credit, he didn't have that many great players around him to assist too, but let's face it, I've watched the guy since high school, and this is honestly the biggest adjustment to his game I've ever seen, because he's by and large been the same player, high school to college at Alabama, to his first years at Cleveland, to even, you could argue, last season when he was with Utah. And so this most recent stint is like the biggest leap in his. I thought this was going to take him probably a year and a half to do. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought we had the rest of this year and then probably 2/3 of next year before we would have been able to see this. And when that ultimately in my head made me think he probably would have got traded because of it. But he's making it hard, obviously, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing for us. If the Jazz doesn't make any changes in terms of trades, that guard spot, they're going to have some issues. They almost have to love Clarkson. Playing him over 30 minutes can't be in vain. True. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I'm a big Lonzo Ball guy. Jeff, you're talking to me right now. Now, the question is, how reliable would it be? How much can we rely on his kneecaps? That is my only question with Lonzo. Because remember, he got the cartilage replacement procedure because he literally had no cartilage in his knees. It was literally like bone on bone action. So if the cartilage procedure actually was as good as we think it is, and I haven't seen any updates because they said in January he was going to be able to run, like physically run, not hoop run, but not get runs in, but like actually physically run. But I haven't seen any updates from there. So I think his overall recovery will end up determining how many people are willing to pull the trigger and try and make a trade and see if they can bag him for the last year or two. I think he's got 2 years left on his contract. Let's see. Why are we deleting comments? Oh, we can't talk now. Is deleting yours, Jay? Send it again. It was probably an accident. I feel like Sexton would be great in the current season. We saw him in the JC role though, and it didn't work, Rashad. That's my problem. Because that's what he was doing in the first half of the season. And it was ugly. And then we also had him running alongside THT, which was made it even worse. I like Sexton alongside Keontae. I don't love it as much as I love Dunn alongside Keontae, because obviously Dunn is a longer rangier, like he's the same height as Keontae, but he's a defensive lockdown and he has those veteran minutes where he carved out his role doing the dirty work type stuff. And obviously he's got the knack for table setting. It's not a newly acquired skill for him. This is what he does. So I like Sexton alongside Keontae, because Sexton also a lot of times defers to Keontae. That was one thing that I didn't think was going to happen, because I think we all remember that short stage where right when Sexton first started to get starts this year, and they decided to go ahead and put Jordan Clarkson on the bench. When they would be on the court together, Sexton would not pass him the ball. And I don't know if it was a conscious, I know you're going to mess this up thing, or if it was I don't want you to get back your starting role from me and get hot, so I'm going to do it my own. I didn't see him ever do that with Keontae, and I appreciated that, because that's almost like him consciously admitting this is going to be his team one day, and I'm here to help you along the way, which is also why I'm happy every time Colin Sexton sits on the bench. But when Keontae makes a play, the first dude to get off the bench and hype him up and just run on the court is Colin Sexton. And it's like, dude, the understanding is that if Keontae ends up being as good as we think he's going to be, as much as I love you to death, Colin Sexton, you're probably going to get pushed to the bench, because Keontae's 2 inches taller. And if he can play defense and learn from Kris Dunn the way that Kris Dunn does it, and he can evolve in his playmaking sense and hit his shots and become more efficient, he does everything that you do. And the only thing that he won't be is like that energy Russell Westbrook kind of guy. So you're going to have to take that Westbrook role and slide to the bench eventually. But the fact that he's still there and still hyping him up on a daily basis, consciously with that in the back of his head, tells me a lot about his leadership style, and just the fact that he is an integral part to the culture of this team, right? Because he has an ego. Between him, really Clarkson, I guess, they're the only two people that have like up front in your face kind of egos. And Clarkson's more of like a stylish, it's a vibe. Sexton is like that bulldog, no matter what happens, I got my guy. We're going to play the same way when we up 15 versus when we down 25. And that's just how his thing is. So it's interesting. Keontae has a little bit of an ego. It's not the same type of thing, though. I'm still trying to feel out what his is. Oh, yeah. I just got to that. Yeah. Should play 48 minutes when they play the Warriors. Flair, you're just saying that because you're a Warriors fan. We will not do that. My worry with Sexton is his fit next to Keontae long term. Yeah. I think ultimately it'll end up pushing Sexton to the bench. I'm not going to lie. But for the time being, I don't hate them playing together, right? They can play off of each other, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far. And Sexton is willing to defer to Keontae, which is the most important part, because you don't want Sexton to get in the way, because right now that's our thing with John Collins. We don't hate John Collins as a player, but he's getting in the way of Taylor Hendricks' development. That's the biggest thing. He said, I don't see Dame as a pure point guard either. Drew Holiday is a 2, but has been forced to play point at this point. What's a point guard in 2024? Interesting. There are very few pure point guards left in the league. I'd say there's probably maybe six. And by pure point, I mean they're probably assisting just as much as they're scoring themselves. They're liable to make 10 field goals and also liable to get 10 assists. There's probably maybe 6 guys in the league that are probably going to do that or have a history of doing that, period. That said, the point guard role has adjusted depending on the personnel of teams, which is why I said Kris Dunn fits the niche of this team's requirements so well, because what we need him to do, he can do at a very high level. And most guys either don't do specifically what he does as well, or they score a lot, can kind of assist and kind of play defense. That's not what we need with this roster. Because Lauri needs somebody to table set for him. Walker Kessler needs somebody to table set for him. John Collins needs somebody to table set for him. Fontecchio usually gets set up by somebody else. Not to say that like him and John Collins can't dribble on their own, but in the system that they run, they usually have somebody else get them the ball and let them cook. So you can't just put any old point guard in the system that, you know, can get a bucket themselves, because that's not always going to work. But yeah, I see what you're saying there. Taking away 6 minutes from JC and 6 from Samanic, give it to Hendricks would have been preferable. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have been mad at that either. I'm not gonna lie. First, we need to see who Keontae is. We can't assume anything about him yet. True. I don't know if I agree with that, Rashad. Sexton plays well alongside Keontae. So many pseudo point guards in the league these days. Yeah. It's just the evolution of it. No. Keontae doesn't defer to Sexton. More often than not, Sexton defers to Keontae when they share the court. Now, admittedly, it's only like probably 6 minutes a night. But when they're on offense, Sexton defers to Keontae more than Keontae defers to Sexton. I don't know if it's by design of the offense or if it's a conscious decision on his part, though. That might be something to look into. Dunn at the 1 and Keontae at the 2 long term? I don't know about that. So question, do you view Keontae as a shooting guard? Is that what you're saying? And what's long term to you? Because remember, Kris Dunn is 29. That's our other big concern, because we love what Kris Dunn can do, but he's also he doesn't have as many games because of injuries and other things. So that's also kind of what affects him and his longevity a little bit. But let's say we get 6-ish years out of him, right? 35 years old. Kris Dunn's probably not going to be the same guy. By that time, Keontae just turned 20, so he's going to be 26 years old. So at that point, what are you saying? What would you view as that next iteration, the next evolution of the game? Is there another point guard? At that point, do you think Bryce Sensabaugh will have bought in on defense and be the guy that they hope he can be? Is that our expectation? Let me know. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Incognito. Well, see, the thing is, I see what you're saying, Rashad, but we have him running off screens. And what Money said earlier was he's shooting extremely low percentages on those shots. That was the biggest issue. Because apparently he shoots, 38.6, 38.8% from 3 off the dribble, but off the catch he shoots like 27, 28%. So it's that's on slightly more attempts, on 2.8. It was 2.8% of his shots come off threes, and then what do you call it? 2.8 attempts from off the catch and 2.3 attempts off the dribble, but he shoots significantly better off the dribble. So we do have him going off the catch, but he just doesn't seem to be hitting those looks. They're clean looks, but that's part of the thing that I said. He always tends to take good shots. They just don't always fall. Come to find out, a lot of those shots just happen to be those ones that are off the catch. I'm not saying shooting at an elite clip, but I do find it mildly concerning. Not like hit the panic button concerning, but like mildly concerning that he's shooting so low. Like, it's encouraging that he can shoot a high percentage off the dribble from threes, because a lot of rookies can't do that. There's a lot of players that have been in the league 4, 5, 6 years that can't do that. But off the dribble, off the catch, off a pin down or whatever action, off a screen, is always going to be the easiest look you can get. So I'd like to see that next evolution of his game immediately, alongside him having more defensive nights like he did today, be him hitting those open looks. That's going to be a big thing for him, because if he can't hit those, it limits the type of sets that you can run with him because you can't play him similarly to how you can play Lauri. You can't play him in similar plays that you can run Fontecchio, and it kind of messes with the switchability of certain players and their roles on the court. Not to say we want the action on offense initiated by a Lauri, but more so in a situation to where if we end up in a situation where Lauri happens to be on the wing and Keontae's in the corner, and say the ball's, I don't know, in Sexton, or it could really be in Fontecchio's hands. It could be anybody's hands at the top of the key. If Keontae comes off that corner and he comes off a pin down, can he hit that shot consistently? Because if not, you're forcing yourself to always make him extremely ball dominant. And one big issue that we had, that a lot of point guards end up having later on in their careers, is they've been so ball dominant the entirety of their careers. They've never been put into a situation where they were able to succeed off ball. And that's why a lot of people say, myself included, I'm willing to give Kevin Durant this praise. The biggest difference between himself and OKC and when he went to the Warriors was he learned how to play and shoot off ball a lot better. He could always do it, don't get it twisted, but he made it a bigger facet of his game, and it allowed scoring to come much easier to him because he added that. So I want Keontae to be able to shoot that clip better, because in that situation, that allows him to get much simpler buckets. It allows the offense to flow a little bit smoother, and he doesn't have to always initiate the offense when he's on the court. Fair play, incognito. I see what you're saying. Jackson Golding. Hey, man. That's your first comment in the chat, isn't it? Glad to see you said do not trade Lauri. Is he on Twitch? No, I don't think they're going to trade Lauri. I don't see that happening. From Bryce, I see him becoming something very similar to THT. I hope I'm wrong and he develops further. Interesting. I have a little bit of a mixed feeling on that, Jeff. My only reasoning being, watching his G League games, for me, his biggest things were, can he play make? Is his shot selection going to be a little bit better than it was in college? Because with the Buckeyes in Ohio State, he had the ultimate green light. So he could shoot whatever he wanted to because he was that boy. He was the best player on that team, so he shot whatever he wanted to shoot. Can he improve his shot selection? Can he maintain efficiency? Can he play make? And most importantly, can he play respectable defense? It doesn't have to be great, but can it be respectable? I've seen him check off most of those boxes with the exception of the defensive one. The assists come and go. The playmaking comes and goes. So that's a little bit of a question mark. So I do kind of see what you're saying, but I think he's a little bit more of a capable and consistent scorer, specifically a shooter. He's a shooter that THT will never be, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I think he's shooting like 37.2%, 37.8% from three in the G League right now. Bryce is. Do I think Fontecchio is part of our future? That's a tough question, because Fontecchio does a lot of things right in the way that even when he's not scoring, like today, you can still play him a significant number of minutes and it won't cost you to have him on the court, which is a big thing. He's also a European, so his style of basketball is something that's very good to have, and we have a team of like a lot of foreigners. So he feels at home here. The guys like him. He's chill. He's not problematic in the slightest. He's not too old. But if a better option comes in the draft, or we find ourselves in a situation where, say, Walker Kessler develops some modest mid-range jumper, right? So we can start him at the 4, or we can start him at the 5. Lauri's still at the 4, and let's say Taylor Hendricks' face-up games become so good that he can attack off the dribble really well. I could see him overtaking Fontecchio and Fontecchio getting moved to the bench. But I wouldn't say we get rid of him entirely, because he has long-term usage just because of his character, the way he carries himself, and the way he styles and plays the game. I don't think it's too problematic. I like to lean yes, I'll say. It's just takes reps off the season for him to work on that part of his game. I think I'm reading this wrong. I think it just takes. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I got you. Perfect coach might be a little crazy, but I definitely believe in it though. I definitely believe in it. I believe in Keontae's ability to get better. That's why I said it's encouraging that he can shoot off the dribble. It's kind of hilarious that he can shoot off the dribble from three, but not off the catch, because you think off the catch is going to give you open looks, but off the dribble, in a sense, for a lot of players, because you've had the ball in your hands so much, you have the ability to get to your shot how you want to and get to your own comfortable feel around how you play the game. Despite his age, Fontecchio doesn't have that many mileage, similar to how Joe Ingles is relatively durable during his Jazz years. Correct. Yep. Oh yeah, I guess his age. I forgot. I thought he was younger. No, you're not. It's not crazy. It's not crazy though. Despite his age, I still think he can play on this team like down the line. Maybe not start as often, but still be a reliable piece to lean on. Do you think KO gets traded to make room for Hendricks? I don't think he gets traded specifically to make room for Hendricks. I think that would more so end up falling on Collins. But I would say him getting traded would lead to more Hendricks minutes by default. But they wouldn't trade him specifically for that. They would probably, he has enough value to contenders for them to make a move, and even in a three-way trade, to position themselves in a situation to allow themselves to get something of value back and not just trade him for some draft picks and just be like, oh, we're done, or draft picks on another expiring contract. We had room for Hendricks today and he didn't get the nod. I'm sure there was other stuff at going on because Hendricks wasn't even on the active roster for them today. It could have been a G League activation thing as well, but I don't put too much stock into it. I'm not too concerned. I think if our vets get traded, I think our vets get traded only because the other team wanted them bad, not because we actively shop them around. Correct. That's one of the good things, because if you play well enough, you can play yourself into trades and out of trades, because you could play yourself into a trade because other guys will be like, oh, I'm willing to overpay this amount to get him because we like what he can do really well and we think he can do even better with us or do the same, and we need what he had, the skill he has to offer. Or you could play yourself out and it's like, oh, we actually can't afford to trade him because he's playing out of his mind. I think D'Angelo Russell's kind of was in that camp for a second there, but it looks like they're shopping him once again. So there's that. Do you think JC or someone else is in a six-man race? Let me see. I actually have to pull this up because I don't know who all has been playing weapons. Six-man of the year 2024. Who is... Let's check this odds tracker. Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Monk, Jordan Clarkson, Benedict Mathurin, and Bogdan Bogdanovic. I forgot Tim Hardaway Jr. It might be Hardaway Jr. low-key. Malik Monk's been good, and the Kings have been good. But I put Clarkson over Malik Monk. Not because I actually think he's a better player, but because I think in his six-man role, he gets the job done a little bit better. So it might be Tim Hardaway Jr., just because also Tim Hardaway Jr. played off that role the entire season, with the exception of like when injuries occur. But Clarkson obviously started at the beginning of the season, so it makes things a little bit wonky. Just for recording that, I caught the rest of this. Oh yeah, we're just vibing, Lee. I feel like you can still play Collins and Hendricks together. Really? So how would you see? Oh no, I see it. I see it right here. Then actually, I have Nas Reed for my six-man. Interesting. Nas Reed. Interesting. Hendricks at 3, Markin at the 4, Collins at the 5 would be elite. I say that only works if Collins is hitting his three-pointers, because over the past, let me pull up his stats real quick. Stats Muse. John Collins. His three-point shooting overall this season has dropped to 34.1%. To put this into perspective, three-point shooting over the past 10 games. He's made 6 three-pointers over the past 10 games. Mind you, he has attempted 9, what is this? 12, 15, 19, 23, 26. He's attempted 32. So to put that into perspective, 6 of 32 is 18.75% from 3-point range. So his jumper's not right there. But if he is hitting threes, I can see that working. Yes, that does make sense to me. I'm behind you. You said Jazz fans hated, but Miles Bridges would be a great fit. I'm not a Miles Bridges hater. I understand what he did was wrong. I understand, whatever. I also understand his girlfriend his ex-girlfriend wasn't as clean as she came out to be. Everybody tried to paint her in this holier than thou situation, and that's not what it was. But I digress. I like Miles Bridges' game. I do. He's not the greatest defender. I think part of it is because he plays for the Hornets, and LaMelo Ball's not a good defender. Side note, I think Steve Clifford catches a lot of flack for that team losing, but they give him. It's kind of like you gave a lawnmower, not a lawnmower. It's like you gave a welder a butcher's knife and said, "Okay, do your job well." Steve Clifford is a defensively minded coach, and you didn't give him defensively minded players. So he has the wrong tools and the wrong ingredients to cook with, I say. I like Miles Bridges, though. And he can actually rap for anybody that's heard his music. Is it a little vulgar? Yes. But he's one person that actually can rap. Like, I would listen to his music in the car on my own. By choice, not because somebody's holding a gun to the back of my head. It's interesting to see which guards do the best with certain big. Sexton, Collins, George Walker, Clarkson, Olynyk, Sexton, Markkanen, George Markkanen. Yeah, that's definitely a key point right there, David. You're just talking. Just want to say this publicly. Thank you for the Jazz content. I don't think I'm alone when I say I love when you say we're talking about the Jazz. Really love your fan. I appreciate it, Lee. Not gonna lie, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of this without you, man. Not gonna lie. You were one of the OGs. You are one of the catalysts. There's a couple of y'all in the stream right now that are from way back before I was monetized, like back before I had 300 viewers, or 300 viewers before I had 300 subs. Low key. We said, Jackson, you said, I think instead of trading for Murray, I would rather go Alex Caruso. I wouldn't hate picking up Alex Caruso. I'm not going to lie. I would not hate that at all. The question would be, what do they want in exchange for him? And how capable can he be on defense for us? Because I love his energy. I really appreciate your content, as you know. Yes, sir. Jazz fans hate him. I addressed that already. My Nas Reed take is because he can sufficiently cover either big that is in with him, Cat or Rudy. That's not easy. You're not going to get a lot of credit for that take, and it's not going to be the flashiest or most respected thing to say, Jeff, but you are right, and I agree with you. Bridges is great. He's the reason why I watch the Hornets, honestly. Hornets have a losing culture. Yeah. When, what's his name? He got traded to the Heat. When Terry Rozier, when he went down there and he was like, back in my old team, losing was just part of the culture. But down here, everybody gets mad at losing. Nobody wants to lose. I was dying because I was like, nah, that's crazy. Saying losing is a part of a team's culture is diabolical. But it's been for a long time. It's been for 10 years now? The last time we made the playoffs, LeBron was with Miami. So, yeah, that part. RTP the gang. Yeah, Rashad, know what it is. Thanks, bro. You'd be here regardless. You underrate your assistance league. I'll put it to you like this, right? A lot of times when I don't want to post a video or I don't want to go live or I don't want to do something, my expectation, a lot of people as a content creator, it's very easy to get into a place where you look at the screen and I see 31 viewers. Wow, that's cool. I have 20 likes on the video. Wow, that's cool. Very simple stuff, right? But it's a whole nother thing when every time somebody comes in the live, right, you take a moment out to recognize whoever that person is. When they say, hey, what's up, guys? And you call them out, you say what's up to them. You recognize who's commented in your streams before and who hasn't, and who might have, or you haven't seen in a while, like that sort of thing. Because then it makes it more personable, and you get into a situation where you say, I post this video, or I'm talking about the Jazz today, or I'm gonna take this angle on the video because I know Rashad and Lee will see it this way, but I also know Tatum's gonna have something to say about this part of it. When you start thinking about the personable aspects of it, it makes the content go to a different level, because it's not just me putting out a video to see who watches it. You know, I'm putting out a video for Lee to watch it. I'm putting out a view for Tatum to watch it. I'm putting out a view for Logic to watch it, for Flair to watch it, you know, for Kurt to watch it, for anybody, right? And that's just like the level that it. So I would say, is it possible that I get here regardless? Yes, because I held myself to a certain standard. But your existence and you constantly like being in my comment sections, constantly donating. I don't have my mic if not for you. A couple of the jerseys in the back are because of y'all and y'all channel memberships, right? So could I have gotten here? Of course. It would take a lot longer though. And so I'm appreciative, and I can't say enough about that one. But yeah, don't sell yourself short like that. Monty, he said this channel's on my favorites. I appreciate that, man. Facts. Detroit losing culture as of late. Yeah. Detroit actually doesn't have as bad of a starting lineup or a bench as it looks on paper. That's the craziest part, but they just can't string it together. Who do you think should sell in the league, but props won't sell? Should sell like their team? Probably the Pistons. Realistically. The Hornets are very close second because I hate it, but they just sold it. So MJ was a god-awful owner. I'm not going to lie. He was bad at what he did. As an executive, LMJ. Detroit is different, though. They want to win, and they've been playing well. I just don't think Cade and Ivy can play together. That's an interesting take. I'm willing to entertain that because they seem to play really well when each other aren't playing on the court, but whenever they're together, you never see both of them go off at the same time. It's kind of like Batman versus Bruce Wayne. You never see them in the same room together. I'm not saying they're the same person, but I don't see them around each other. Kind of deal. Clarkson's body language feels like he's already at the door. Low key a little bit. I see what you're saying, Kurt. I see what you're saying. It's all you, your grind, your determination, your hustle, your grab. It's been fun and incredible to watch your growth. Christmas, I celebrated your 1.2 Cubs. Yes, sir. I'm not gonna lie. At the end of January, I was getting down in the dumps. Like after me and you did my collab, my next 3 videos were just, they weren't hitting. I posted one tonight before the game, which was a bad idea. Side note, I wish I was able to edit it sooner, but I wasn't able to. So I missed out on my click-through rate's kind of hot dog water on that. So that probably won't do particularly great. But like, I got into a rut real bad where I was like, bro, am I really cut out for this? Like what's going on right now? My videos must be terrible. And I was like, nah, got to keep going anyways. We gonna get there though. It was so fun, incredible that night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we gonna get there. Bulls, the Bulls should sell. I'm with you on that one, Tate. Jaden Ivey's so good. Yup. It was widely reported that Detroit wanted to sign Sexton and Ivy fell to them, and that evaporated. It would be interesting to see Sexton with Cade. I think Sexton could single-handedly stop Cade from turning into a 40-year-old at the age of, 22? Cade looks so old, dude. I think it's possible for the Jazz to get a Zach LaVine, or would you ever spell his name? Is it possible? Yes. Do I think they would or should? No, because he's also undergoing the season-ending, the likely season-ending foot surgery. But by and large, I don't think that it makes. I just don't think long-term it's for him to be here. He's a very gifted scorer, but injuries and his contract, the two just don't really match up too much for me personally. Appreciate that, but if I wasn't here, you still would be. I'll just think you're letting me part of something special. I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't be where I am. That's the thing. That 1.2 mark is hard, bro. You know how fast it can go and go. We're given 19 minutes. Number 19. Who's 19, y'all? I'm bugging out right now. That's not Fontecchio, is it? That's not Fontecchio. You talking about, is Solomon just for night? No. Wait, I'm about to see. Yeah, Fontecchio 16. Oh, yeah, he's talking about Luca. Honestly, I have no idea what happened with that one. Low key. That was not something that I expected at all. Oh, Ruger, is that your first time ever commenting? Hold on. I ignored because I saw the purple in it there. But yeah. Hendricks is objectively, for me personally, the better player. He has the more lasting likelihood of success. That said, I think that something happened because he wasn't even on the chart of players that would have been playable today that were active. So I think he was still in his G League assignment. I think that's what happened. But yeah, this would have been a good game for him to get those minutes instead of Luca. Levine is worth the haul the Bulls want. Plus, he's just be a rental. True. I love to win, but let's be honest. It's hard to be a tweener. Yeah. WSG, new subscriber code Jazz. Appreciate you. Coldman Sports. Hey. What's good, my guy? Appreciate you. Playing Luka was a stupid decision. It was interesting, I'll say that. Put mildly. Mm. 40 at 22, basically. Bro, he looks like he got a wife that yells at him every time he gets off his 9 to 5, and he works like 2 to 4 hours overtime every single day. He gets off at like 8 p.m., gets home, his wife just yells at him. The food's always cold. His kids are mad at him. They don't say hey to him and greet him when he comes home. That's the face that man has at the end of the game sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. Kid Cunningham be going through it. Living got hurt because he saw he was getting traded to Detroit. Daniel will reveal his hand this trade deadline. If Kelly is traded to play Taylor, then we're not looking to win. It's a gamble because I think we can win. Taylor's not so bad that we can't win with him because Taylor plays defense. Taylor, to me, plays defense as well as Kelly plays offensively. Now, Kelly's distributive powers is what really makes him really good because he can shoot, he can create for himself, but he can also set other people up. That said, I think I think we can still win with Taylor. Like those games when we started Keontae was a bad idea because we were effectively losing games because he wasn't there yet. He's still not quite there. But back then he definitely wasn't there. But we still tried it for a substantial period of time. I think Taylor's a better player now than he was then. So I think it's not necessarily a guaranteed loss. Luka looks so lost. I would have gone. Oh, he's 19. Oh, he's a baby too. Would have gone with Taylor. Yeah. I think they showcased him before the deadline. Who is in the dunk contest? Sexton has to get a call. Whether he does is another combo. Meniscus scare comes to mind. Yeah, Loki. Do you think we should push for play-in or go for a better draft class? I say push play-in. Let's go ahead and get some. Let's convey this year's draft pick to OKC so we can help them the least, right? Because there's potential that they get a good pick this year, this coming draft out of us. Like whoever they end up drafting in the middle of the round is a good player. That's potential. But if we wait and give them the pick next year, that's not going to be great because that's a deeper draft class. And so their odds of picking somebody that's a substantial contributor long-term is much more likely. And I don't want to help them out because they're maybe a year and a half ahead of us in their timeline. So we're going to have to deal with them every single time. And I don't want to do that. That said, Danny is trying to steadily build a championship. Obviously, as the sooner the better in their eyes. So I would say fight for the plan. Even if you lose, right? Even if you go to the plan, you play 2 games and you lose both, right? You still have valuable experience. That's not quite playoffs, but it's pretty darn close. So a lot of the rookies, a lot of the young guys that haven't played for anything important in the NBA, they have something that they can say, okay, I played in a meaningful game. It was a tough game. It was a difficult game, but I played in a meaningful game. I want to get back there and I want to get better now. And then it helps the mindset. It pushes you to be a little bit better next year. Those minutes for Taylor will pay off down the road. Agreed. Yep. I'm a David. Yeah. Mm. In 2K, Hendricks looks great. I'll bet. I'm just here for the ASMR. My fault, Kurt. He said Taylor has some insane blocks, most definitely. Hendricks is a dog. Him, Sexton, and Dunn is a DMX concert. I think the Jazz could still win with Hendricks. Perfect D and 3D roll. I'm not mad at it. Yeah, Taylor doesn't have the savvy yet. You could make that argument. From what I'm hearing, Danny Ainge wants to build a contending team ASAP using this trade deadline. Yup. Just from my sources and 2 articles. Yeah, I'm down the same pipeline. I feel like right now, Hendricks is a better defender shooter than Ochai. You can definitely make that case. I'm not going to lie. Listen, Locke the other day, he said Danny's aiming for a 28, 29, 30 run. We're in 2024 now. '28 is 4 years from now. 4 years from now, Laura will be. Do I hate that though? If you said 2027 to 2029, I would have felt better about that. A live Super Bowl post game? I might. I don't know. I think I work Super Bowl Sunday. Low key. I don't know. It depends, Lee. George has potential. So many things can change in just a couple of years. True. What do you think will happen at the trade line? There's going to be I think at least 2 pieces get traded from us. 2 people get traded. What we end up getting in a return haul, I'm not sure. I don't know yet. I'm not going to speculate just yet. I haven't heard enough rumblings to know for certain. But I think 2 people from our roster will not be here post-trade deadline. Potato chip and naps ASMR. And Ochai should get his confidence back in the G League. Ochai needs something. He needs to change of pace. He needs to trade. He needs something because this isn't the Ochai that I was expecting. I think Lauri is peaking right now or he can't get better. The only thing that can make Lauri get better is him understanding his defensive schemes better and playing better in that facet of the game. Or playmaking. Because he can't really get much of a better shooter. But playmaking, maybe dribbling into creating his own shot, that can get better. So is he almost at his peak? Really, really close. There's only 1 gear above where he's at right now for him personally, in my opinion. If we don't look at peaking in 2 to 3 years, we will be taking him. Low key. I don't think Lauri can be the main guy on a championship team. Not with his particular play style right now. Keep Abaji at the trade deadline. Yeah, I'm not ready to trade Abaji though. But we need to find a way to get him. Maybe he's having a Colin Sexton situation where earlier at the beginning of the season when Sexton was coming off the bench, because of the sporadic minutes he was playing, he could never get hot. Maybe that's what's going on with Ochai. But that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping for, honestly. Playing, you're already in the hunt. Don't worry about the Lakers. LeBron goes ape shit whenever he sees a championship. At this point, he is, as Draymond eloquently said, a 16-game player. Turn around from a low post would help Lauri a lot. Yeah. You think this was the last game we see JC in a Jazz uniform and Kelly Olynyk? It's possible. It's definitely possible. I don't know how extremely likely it is, but it's definitely possible. Like a lot more possible than a lot of people are willing to entertain. Was Lauri in the Rudy trade? If so, we could have had Donovan. No. Okay, so when we traded Donovan to Cleveland, and Cleveland gave us back Sexton and Lauri. So our two biggest guys, our two most key offensive pieces we received from just Donovan Mitchell. And Kessler actually came as dividends from the Rudy Gobert trade. So he traded Gobert for a younger Gobert, basically. What do y'all think about Klay Thompson, Draymond Green post game banter? Man, I don't know. I don't want the Klay's fall off is crazy. I didn't think shooters could lose their ability, because usually when players like get older, they become less movable, less mobile. They have to get a jumper. Klay's just fighting for his life. Keontae from the Gobert trade too. Yep. Ocho's contract is 5th valuable on its own. Never discount a rookie contract. Oh, is 2 valuable on its own. Okay, I got you. We really need to trade KO, not because he's bad, but so Hendricks can get more minutes in development. It's possible. We'll see. I think trade JC and keep Olynyk. At this moment, Walker is the only player left from the Gobert trade. We have all our good players drafted from different teams, mainly Denver. Part of life, man. I don't hope much for Ochai. Spot up is about all he has. For such a great athlete, he can't try. Yeah, his handle is pretty weak. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, man. Any final thoughts? Before we shut it down for the day, we had a pretty good stream. That last stream was insane, though. That last stream was ridiculously live. In the car, too. Achilles knee, Klay got hit with a double win. That is true. Fontecchio got interest. I figured he would. Walker kind of dropped off. Future decoy. Sorry for Ochai. Being the man in college and deferring in the league takes a toll on you. Yeah, that's a good point, though. That is a good point, Rashad. I think Klay's issue is he relies heavily on defense to get in rhythm. On offense, since his ACL, he's had a huge decline in offense because he's hard to move laterally. It's hard to have lateral mobility after an ACL injury. I can see that. A reliable mid-range jumper for Ochai would help. Something. He needs to add something to his game, or just become more consistent from 3. Because if you're going to take 3 shots a game and they're all going to be 3s, you got to spark them. I think Ochai is great. Obviously, he's not a star, but he will be a role player. His defense alone is amazing, in my opinion. That makes him nice if he can consistently be a 3 and D guy. Walker needs more strength. Needs to hit iron. We got Ochai in the Gobert trade. He also had an Achilles tear. Yeah. Are you from Utah? There's not a lot of Jazz fans that are not from Utah. I'm actually in Charlotte. Well, not in Charlotte, but just outside of Charlotte, Jackson. I'll be visiting Utah in March, though. I made that one community post about it. I got to review everybody's stuff. I read over everybody's stuff, and I just screenshot all of it. So it's all on my phone now. Probably not. What's today? Today's Wednesday now. Probably not today, but probably Thursday. Tomorrow I'm gonna start looking at flights and stuff and see how much I need to make on YouTube this month in order to make that trip happen. Would it be crazy for me to set my expectations to make $1,000 on YouTube this month? Is that crazy? Considering I've also only made like $13 so far this month, and we're already on the 7th. Is that great? That's actually crazy. I'm gonna figure something out. Yeah. I gotta see if I'm still staying with Tyson when I get down there, though. if I am, that takes care of like the hotel thing that plane ticket, rental, obviously game tickets, right? Yeah, it's like $1,000. I don't know how I'm gonna raise it. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna give y'all updates. I'm gonna start checking my community tab. I'm gonna start posting my little updates as I'm growing with my pockets. We said, yo, yeah, love the relaxed dialogue, nice opinions, and a little smack bag. Just vibes, man. Just vibes. We're a family here. What game you going to in March? Might have to drive up to that game. Okay, so Spence, it's your first time commenting in here today. What's good, my guy? Great win today, by the way. Probably, I think it's like the 16th and the 18th we have home games. I think I'm coming to those because I'll only have to take one day off of work. I was going to come to the spring break, to the first week of March, there's a spring break, but I probably won't have enough money saved by then. So I'll probably do the 16th to the 18th. So I'll just catch two games. I think it's against the same team. It's the Timberwolves, I think. And those will probably be the ones. Thought you was I was gonna say 6 months something. Nah, we ain't got games in 6 months. So then ACL Achilles is hard to find rhythm offensively when you depend on defense to get in rhythm. And the ACL Achilles injury, you need athleticism for defense. True. Think of future Jazz versus Thunder rivalry. It's gonna be good. Low key, a thing that a lot of people aren't talking about. I don't think a lot of these young players care about being friends with each other, and I love that. I love a good rivalry, like genuinely, like I'll dap you up and whatever off the court, but on the court, bro, I'm at your head. Like we're not gonna be buddy chatting it up right here. Now, like I genuinely don't like you right now. For the next 48 minutes, you should off yourself now. Like that type of energy. Like I'm about to roll you for the next 48 minutes. I love that energy. And I think it's gonna be crazy. Throw the Timberwolves in there too. It's gonna be tough. I got a link up for one game. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do my rounds now. I gotta give me a rental car so I can, pop up on everybody, get random pictures and stuff. Katie doesn't need athleticism. That's why it's understandable why Clay has struggled. Not sure me, bro. I got you. There goes Lee. I might have to. My final question is a fun one. Do you think we make the play-in tournament at the end of the season or the playoffs? Definitely playing. Playoffs, if we make the playoffs, we'll be 6th seed. If we like playoffs with no plan, 6th seed. I don't think we're built, and the first part of the season handicapped us enough to put us into a position where we're going to struggle to get out of that expectation pool. Rashad, who you know? You got a ticket plug? Rashad, you got IG? DM me on IG. I'm interested. Because the sooner I sort this out, the better off I'm going to be. That's great because 16th to the 18th is my spring break. Hey, there we go. See? Perfect timing. Number 2 rules are and OKC. Mm-hmm. Snowboard or Brighton if you snowboard or ski. I've never done either. That'd be a fire video though, wouldn't it? Henson? What's good, my guy? But if we make the playoffs, how far are we getting? Depending on our matchup, we can make the second round. If not, we'll probably just steal a couple games in the first round and then probably die out. But either way, we're going to get some valuable playoff experience this year, in my opinion. I don't think Utah can be a 5th seed. Utah getting a baseball team. Yeah, 5th might be too high right now. I heard about that, actually. That and hockey. I heard about both. Told you my bro is Kris Dunn. I definitely forgot, Rashad. I hikey forgot. Not that I doubt you're lying. I genuinely forgot who it was who was related to Kris Dunn. Hey, that's close enough, man. We are the Utah Jazz. The first round exit is waiting. Hopefully, we can see some quality. Calling it, guys. Keep growing, right? You're doing a good job. You already know, Kurt. I gotta keep going. Our Jazz chokers? No, but we have some up and down situations a lot of times. I'll say that we have our fair share of ups and downs, but we'll be okay ultimately. But yeah, Rashad, if you have IG, DM me on IG. If you have Twitter, DM me on Twitter. Yeah, let me know. Um, somebody said Delta, or there was some other airplane thing. So I'm gonna go on the Google travel thing and see what tickets are looking like. And Twitter is TFS Wraith. But yeah, either way, I'm gonna figure out the plane tickets. Then I just gotta see about a rental because I'm not gonna sit there and Uber for 3-4 days. That's not happening. I don't trust all that. We said Clarkson's probably getting traded. It's kind of sad. He's been a fan favorite since he's been the only one left from the Mitchell area. Yeah, man. During Stockton and Malone era, we should have won. MJ pushed off. Hey, just made you scream. Bet that up. Bet that up. Bet that up. No. I came out the woodworks with that one. Oh, I'll do one better. At the end of my live streams, I'll go. Hang on, I'm trying to open up my YouTube app so I can show y'all. Oh, we just hit set 1,571 views or subscribers. Good job, guys. Great job, actually. But yeah, so I'm trying to see. I'm gonna go to my revenue tab. In February, we have made. Hold on, I'm gonna do the last 7 days because we are now in the 7th of February. Over the last 7 days, we have made. I don't know if y'all can see this. Is it gonna focus? 1345. We have a long ways to go, but we're gonna get there. I'm probably gonna do a lot more just to like face cam videos, honestly. Like tomorrow, assuming that Sachin gets back to me, I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna upload that one. If not, I'm gonna upload a different one. And I'll go from there. But yeah, I'm gonna be posting a lot. There won't be a lot of like I'm gonna start adding music in to my videos and stuff, but I'll make something happen. I'll make something happen. Best believe. Best believe. We said Carter, what's good, my guy? Hey, you know I've been up late if Carter had time to pop in. You on a business trip again? Or are you back at the crib today? What do you think of Josh Giddey being with a minor? She was in a place where she shouldn't have been. It was an 18 and over club. She was obviously not 18 and over, so she had to sneak in just to put herself in that position. He let the Thunder management know a year ago, so they were aware of the situation. He kept in close contact with them, so I'm not too super over the top about it. Once he realized what was wrong, he went right to his boss and said, "Hey, boss, this is what happened. This is how it happened. This is where I was. All this stuff," and they talked it out. That's the only reason why he didn't see a suspension, honestly. So he handled himself properly. It's just an unfortunate situation to be in. Do you like Gordon Hayward still, even though he left the Jazz? Yeah. I don't necessarily love his Celtics stint, but it happened, and now he's with the Hornets, and he's just collecting a check. But yeah, I think he'll be getting shipped out soon enough. Might have ways to help you How do we connect? Kurt, do you have Instagram or Twitter? Let me know. Haha, no business trip this week. I'm back at home. Hey, that's good. That's good. Yes, sir. Good to see you too. I still call Josh Kitty. Yeah. Skylar said I've had enough. He is what I say he is. No, I understand. Yeah, that's Harry back there. I don't know how likely it is. He would low key. There would be room for him here and there, depending on what pieces were sent away. Low key. But yeah. But yeah, man. With that being said, like always, I appreciate y'all being awesome, enjoying everything, popping in. Oh, see, there we go. Message. Here on Great W, Keon take a game. You already know what it was. Boy, still alive. Sorry, I'm putting together a snake tug. Don't even ask. Hey, nah, you're good, Zach. I was actually about to hop off, but had to get my final remarks, and you know what I'm saying. Okay, you look like Taylor Hendricks. I've heard Anthony Edwards. I've heard like 4 different NBA players before. I'm weak. And this thing, bro. Flair, you act like I'm not about to sit here and hop on Discord and talk to you anyways. Hush. He said you look like Taylor Swift. But, you know, it's been fun. We enjoyed ourselves. We enjoyed ourselves a lovely Utah Jazz W and a quality one at that. Can't really ask for much more on a Tuesday night. Pretty content for me. With that being said, if you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications, come member to the channel, get the video faster than anybody else. Tell your aunties, tell your mamas, tell your poppies, tell your uncles, tell your grandparents, tell your cousins, tell your sons, your daughters, everybody to check out the channel if they happen to like the Jazz. Or subscribe to my main channel, the Wraith Hoops, because I'm gonna start uploading a video every Friday there. First one should drop this Friday about All-Star Weekend. With that being said, as always, thank you for tuning in this video. It's your Wraith Hoops. Good morning, good evening, good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.